Right, we're back again, and so we're doing steps 29 and 30 here on the LD3 D. There's a few little pointers here which I've built up one side, and I wanted to sort of go through how you kind of define which parts are which. Now this is the left hand one. I've used a Posca white pen, which is my little friend here, to mark that as my left. They can be used either way, I would say. You can flip them, so you got to kind of figure out which side is which. Now, the front on the standard position is kind of flat across here, whereas the back section has this little dog leg, and it has these raised sections here where the pivot pin goes through and hits the end stop here. So this is your left one facing forwards. So I hope that makes that clear. So start off by putting on the ball stud for the shock. Put that on there, and then the hub is next. It's a bit more complicated than the old ones, which are just like a one piece. These are like a two piece, but they've also got three piece even with inserts and so on, so it's a bit more complicated. So to figure out what goes where, they look quite similar when you just look at them. You think, oh, that looks all the same, but as you can see here, it has a raised section that comes past this. So this is flat here, and this here sticks out. So this is your wheel side, okay, and this is your drive shaft going to the gearbox. Also, this side here is open, and then the back side of it is closed. So when you put the insert in, it will hit that end stop. Also, there is a little cutout here for the bearing. So when you put your insert in there, you can't do that with that bearing in place, because that will stop it going past. So bearing has to come out for you to change these pills. So if you that's something you've got to watch out for. So in the D we use the E. It's hard to see the little letters there. You can again get the white Posca pen, fill these little inserts in so you can see what's going on there. So with these, I've built up the right one. We're running low, so the hole is high and it's E position there. So if we put the insert in for this one, I believe it should go this way around. Also, on the other side, I had to remove a bit of material from here, a bit of flashing with a knife, Stanley knife, just so it would slide in easier. So we'll just push that in there. It needs a little firm push to slide it all the way home. And if that doesn't want to go all the way, you might need to just squash it down against a hard surface. So that's gone flush now. So there's our completed one this side. What we're going to do now is get that get a drive shaft mounted onto this. So in this car we run a small bearing on the inside on the drive shaft. These are all the parts from step 29 and 30. So small drive shaft, a small bearing, sorry. Then we'll need a spacer, and when you slide that in, it goes in, and then it goes further in, so it goes right deep inside the hub carrier there. Just put that back on, and then a large bearing for the outer, and then give that a little push, and that's ready for the hex to go on. Hex, much like I did with the front one, I like to mount up so line up the hole at the top here, put the O-ring over it, put your finger on that side and pull it up over the edges of the hex, holding that in one hand. Pick up the pin, drop it halfway in, and then roll I'll just try and get that pin out a bit more because it's a bit too far. There we go. And then roll the O-ring up so the O-ring is holding that in place, making sure you got the raised section facing the bearing, and then wiggle it around until the pin wants to go in and it pops home. There we go. So that's in, and it's all rotating freely. So that's ready for the pin to go in now. Here's the pin. We're running outside hole, so just line that up and push that all the way through. This is new for the LD3s, new wishbones, and then you just need a 1.5 driver to use this little hole at the back to secure the pin in place. So that just lines that up and it will thread itself in. And then you just need the quick clips. I think the standard setup we're starting off with here is 2 clips at the front and 1 at the back. So each one I believe is 2mm, so you've got quite a lot of adjustment at the back here for wheelbase. So if it's really low grip, you can move the hubs all the way forward, all the way back if the grip's coming up. So just pop that in. 1 at the front, 1 at the back, and then I think it's an extra one at the front. I'm tempted to use these clips on the front hubs rather than those solid washers, because I like the way you can adjust the settings quite quickly with these. So yes, I might invest in a few sets of these for the front of the car. Yes, definitely a bit, can be a bit fiddly. There we go. So that is a little tight, but after a run or two that will certainly free up. I'm sure it's just got a bit of load on it. But yeah, so that is the left side and the right side wishbones all made up. Excellent. Moving on to the next step. It does say here to use some lithium grease on the drive shafts. Let's move on to the next one. So what have we got? Step 31. So that's the plates that go on the top here. 31. Here we go. So I don't need you. Right, so I've just built up the next step on step 31 on the right side, so let's do the left side. So we start off with screwing the plate on. Now the plate has got this notch and this raised out section, whatever you want to call it. The notch section goes towards the hex, and we use the outer 2 screw holes. So I'll just get the threads started on both the screws, and then we'll tighten it up. And then I like to use a bit of thread lock to hold it on the ball stud, because it's metal on metal and that's the sort of thing that works loose as the car goes around the track. I'll just nip these up with my driver. And then a quick hand tighten check. So that's ready to go. Next up is the ball stud. So that goes on, I think it's a 3mm spacer. So kit set up, a bit of thread lock for belt and braces. Just worked out quite nicely, and that goes in the middle hole of the 3 in a row. That's I believe that's the kit setup. So wind that in, and then put the pivot pin through the wishbone. At the back of the wishbone goes this little kiddie here with a flat section towards the wishbone. That's your rear pivot ball. And then on the front goes the little toe-in blocks. Now I filled these little dots in with a white Posca pen so I can see my toe-in a little better. I find it a lot easier to spot with my slightly aging eyes. These have an orientation. The little notch at the front there goes to the inside, and that gives you your correct toe-in. So for the left one here, we've got the little notch to the side. Oh, it's to the inside, it's very small because it's 4 degrees. I'm going to chuck 4 degrees on, just my starting setup. So then that goes on the inside. I find it easier to put them in the car first because they're too loose on the pivot pin. So I'll slot them into the car. Now I like to use a 3mm hex driver for this. So I'll just find my 3mm hex driver. Here we are. Now that's the way I want it ready on the car. Now just ease the 3mm driver in. It's quite a snug fit. Oh, didn't do that on camera, did I? So yeah, we do that. We push just the very tip in there, not too far in, so it's just held on there. And then you can get the car, find where you want it to go, wiggle it in to the carrier, and then when it goes in, you'll see it goes home, and then you can wiggle the driver back out, and then it's in place. Same on the other side, and then the rear wishbones can slot into those. Same again on this side. Put the 3mm driver in, and then get your car and line it up, get it into the rear hanger. Just needs a little wiggle and push it home. You can see the little dots showing there. You can see how much towing you're running. So that's ready for the wishbones now. Just pop that over there, and left and right, and then you can literally slot the pivot pin in there, and then that's ready for the rear hanger to go on. I think that'll be the next step. So that's that part complete, I'd say. Just move on to the next step. Is that hole gone? There we go. Yep, it's all looking good.